right, guys, I think we're going to begin. So it looks like we have Braden here and Lucas and Adaya. So Adaya, I hope I'm saying your name right. If I'm not, you can correct me. I'm super happy you're here. My name is Miss Kramer, and I work at Enlightium. I work as like an academic coach. I help students that might be struggling a little bit with their work. And I really love what I do. So today we're going to be talking about flexible thinking. And when you think about flexible thinking, I want you to think about how you could bend your brain to learn in new ways. That's what we're going to learn about today. I always like to start my sessions with a Bible verse. So our Bible verse today is from Matthew 19:26. And it says, with God, all things are possible. So I want you right now to stop for just a minute and think about something that might be hard for you. Maybe you're trying to learn something new, or maybe you are trying to do a class in school that's really hard for you. I want you to remember that you don't have to do it all by yourself. So God will give you strength, and He also puts people that can help you. So a parent, maybe a teacher, or even a sibling. God puts lots of people in our paths. And today is what is called the National Day of Prayer. That means that Christians all around the world are praying today. So that would be a wonderful thing to do with your family today if you haven't had the chance to do that. I know some of my families like to pray before meals or pray before they go to bed. So think about when you could fit that in today. Okay, so we're almost in summer. I don't know where you guys live, but where I am, it's pretty hot. I live in South Carolina, and it's about 86 here today, so it's already pretty warm. So something I love to do in the summer is to eat ice cream. And vanilla is actually my favorite. Seems kind of boring, but that's my favorite ice cream. I'd love to know what you guys like to do in the summer. So Braden or Lucas or Adaya, if you wanted to come off mute and tell me something fun you like to do in the summer, I'd love to hear it. No one. I know sometimes it can be a little shy. Braden, what about you? What do you like to do in the summer?
Build my Lego sets.
Oh, awesome. I love that. We're actually going to be talking about Legos in just a minute. So you're going to have some great ideas of what we can build with Legos. That's super fun. Let's see, Lucas or Adaya? I'll tell you a couple other fun things I like to do too. So I live near the beach. So South Carolina is a cool state. So we have a beach on one end and we have mountains on the other end, and they're only separated by about 4 hours. But I live on the beach end of the state. And so I love to go walk on the beach in the summer and collect shells. That's another thing I love to do. Okay, so I have a funny question for you. So part of growing your flexible thinking skills is thinking about and imagining things in different ways. So I have a question for you. I have two people here. One person has marshmallow feet and one person has spaghetti hair. I'm curious if you had to pick one, either marshmallow feet or spaghetti hair, which would you pick? And I'm going to tell you, I think I would probably pick the marshmallow feet, because if you look at the picture, they look really soft and cushiony. And I actually run a lot. I'm a runner. And so those look like they'd be really comfortable to put on after a long run. So what about you guys? Braden or Lucas or Adaya, would you rather have marshmallow feet or spaghetti hair?
Marshmallow feet.
You're just like me, Braden. You'd rather have marshmallow feet. They look kind of comfortable. Now, I don't know how sticky they are, but hopefully they wouldn't be too sticky and they just be nice and comfortable. Lucas or Idalia, do you want to pick one? I'm actually seeing my chats. Oh, awesome. Okay, I see some chats here. So likes to put on her dresses in the summer. That's awesome. And Lucas says, I love to run outside and go to pools. Me too. And both Adaya and Lucas said that they wanted to have marshmallow feet. So I feel like marshmallow feet has won, which is great. Does that they definitely look more comfortable than the spaghetti hair. Okay. Clarissa, I see you just joined us. If you want to come off mute, we are trying to figure out which we would rather have, marshmallow feet or spaghetti hair. If you had to pick one, what do you think you'd rather have? I think so far everybody said they would rather have marshmallow feet. I think you're on mute. You might, do you know how to unmute yourself, Clarissa? There should be a little button for you to unmute. There you go.
Spaghetti hair.
You'd rather rather have spaghetti here. I love that. That looks kind of fun too. It'd be a different look, wouldn't it? Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Clarissa. Okay, so we want to think about thinking about things in new ways. Okay, so if you think about things that are flexible, I want you to think about a rubber band. So a rubber band is really flexible. When you move it back and forth, it bends and moves. But a stick, you see we've got a marshmallow and a stick over here. A stick is not flexible. So when you're thinking about being flexible and thinking about things in new ways, you want to think about having a brain like a rubber band because that'll help you be super flexible. So to practice, we're going to think about different things and ways you could use them. So the first picture that I have are paper clips. Does anybody know what you do with a paper clip? What would be your normal way to use a paper clip? Does anybody know? Have you ever seen a paper clip? Maybe when your mom or dad are getting things together for you for school. So normally you'd use these to keep, oh, let's see, somebody chatted. Let's see if they, yeah, exactly. So normally you'd use it to keep papers together. That's great, Adaya. That's exactly right. So can you think of any other things that you could use for paper clips if you weren't going to use it to put papers together? What's another way that you think you could use it? Any ideas? One thing I was thinking about is maybe you could use it to pull your hair back. Maybe you were somewhere and you did not have any ways to pull your hair back, but maybe you could use the paper clips to do that. Another thing you might be able to do would be to make a necklace out of them. So you can be really creative maybe and make some necklaces out of the paper clips. Okay, so let's keep using that flexible thinking brain. I have a really funny picture here. It's a cat with wings. I want you to think if you ever saw a cat, or maybe you guys have cats as pets, I don't know. If you ever saw a cat with wings, what do you think it would do? I don't have cats, but my daughter actually has two cats. So when I visit her, I get to hang out with her cats. And one thing I notice about her cats is they like to perch up really high so they can look down at the people in the room. Just some cat towers for them. So I thought that would be so fun if the cats had wings because then they could fly up on the ceiling fans. They could fly up on like the roof rafters and then they could look down at us, which would be really fun. Oh, and I like Lucas said for our paper clips, you can use them for arts and crafts. Yes, Adaya. Yes, I think the cat would fly, which would be really cool to see. I'd love to see that. Yes, Lucas says it would fly free. And Lucas, I was thinking about how sometimes my daughter's cats don't want to hang out with me and they'll slink away so that they can be alone. But if they had wings, they could just fly away. So it'd be easier for them to not hang out with you. And also, if they wanted to hang out with you, they might just drop right in your lap because they might be above you and then all of a sudden plop right in your lap. So that's kind of something fun to imagine as if a cat had wings. Okay, so now we have another funny picture. This is a big, big elephant on a tiny, tiny bicycle. I'm going to show you the opposite of something big on something tiny. And then I want to see if you can think of anything, any animals that are tiny as well. Okay, so we have a big elephant on a little tiny bike. Looks like that might be hard for that elephant to balance on that bike. The next picture is a tiny mouse. The picture of the monster truck is not as big as it should be, but if you guys have ever seen an actual monster truck, they are huge. So instead of a big elephant on a tiny bicycle, you would have a tiny mouse on a really, really big truck. So can you guys think of any other animals other than a mouse that are kind of small? What kind of animals are small? It's just hard to think. Braden, can you think of a small animal?
Tree frogs.
Tree frogs. That's a really good one. Okay, so tree frogs. So what could a tree frog sit on that might be really, really big, Braden? Can you
The
think of?
seats in the car.
Oh, that's good. So a tree frog in a car. That's awesome. That's really good. I love that. That's great. And Adaya said ants. That's such a good one. So you could put an ant on anything because an ant is so tiny. And I think it would look really big, right? Because it's super small. Those are really great answers. Thank you guys for all those answers. Those are awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to have you keep on thinking. I want you to look at these two pictures and I want you to tell me if you see anything in these pictures that looks the same. It doesn't have to look exactly the same, but do you see anything that is the same in the first picture and the second picture? And I'm going to first tell you what I mean by that. So in the first picture, I can see some green grass. And in the second picture, I see some green grass. So do you guys see anything else that might be kind of the same? What do you guys think? Gotta really use your thinking skills for this one because the pictures are different. So you have to be kind of a detective to think if you see anything that's the same. It might be easier. Oh, somebody, let's see what you say. Oh, great job. Yeah, there's flowers in both. That's great. Yeah, there's flowers in both pictures. That's really great. And yes, and there's ladies in both. You guys are so good. Because you guys are primary, I thought these might be too hard for you, but you're doing a really fantastic job. Yeah, you're exactly right. There are ladies in both, and even though their dresses are a little different, it's kind of the same style. So they're kind of big flowy dresses, even though they're not exactly the same. Okay, so if those are the same, what do you think is different? What do you see that might be different? What might you see in the first picture that you don't see in the second picture?
The sky.
Yeah, that's so good. Braden, that's awesome. You're exactly right. So in that first picture, you see the sky, and in the second picture, it's lower, right? So all you see is the flowers. That's really great. Yes, Adaya, that's another great observation. So in the first picture, the child's a little bit older. So you do have children in both pictures, but the second picture, you have she looks more like a baby, or whoever that is looks more a little bit more like a baby. So that's great. What about what they're holding? Do you notice anything different in the first and second picture based on what they're holding? Yeah, the dresses are different too. Yeah. What's the lady in the first picture holding in her hand? You guys know what that's called? We don't actually see that here unless it's raining anymore, an umbrella. But back then, see how the lady's holding that against the sun? So they didn't like to get a lot of sun. So they'd actually use an umbrella in the sun, which is kind of funny because we don't really do that. We don't do that now. We only use it when it rains. Okay, so two more flex your brains, and we're going to listen to a story and think about some ways we can use our flexible thinking. So the first picture is a spoon. So we all know that we use a spoon to eat our food. Can you guys think of something else that we could do with a spoon? What's something different we could do? What if you went to the beach and you wanted to build a sand castle, but you forgot to bring your shovel, but maybe your mom or dad brought a picnic? What do you think you could use to help you build your sand castle? Oh, Adaya said make dessert. Yes, you can use a spoon to make dessert. That's one of my favorite things is to eat dessert. I love that. So maybe you could use the spoon to dig a little bit, you think? So that might be one way you could use it. You also could use it. Somebody mentioned earlier using paper clips for arts and crafts. You could use a spoon for arts and crafts too. So you could use a spoon to kind of press down the Play-Doh or to make shapes on the Play-Doh. Oh, I like that. Lucas said you can use a spoon to balance eggs. That's a great one, and that's one I didn't even think about. That's a really great answer. I love that. Yeah, that's a great one. You can definitely use it to balance eggs. Okay, so lots of different things you can use with a spoon. If you're helping your mom or dad cook too, you might sometimes see them use measuring spoons that look kind of like this, and that will help you get all the ingredients right so you can make a really yummy cake or really yummy cookies. Um, so let's think about Legos now. Let's think about different things that we could build with Legos. What's something that you could build with with a whole bunch of Legos? What do you guys think?
A Lego house.
I was just thinking that. I was thinking buildings and houses. That's a great answer, Braden. Thank you for sharing that. That's really good. So you can make things like you can maybe make like a pen holder. Maybe you need to put all your pens and pencils in something. That might be a good way to do it. I said build stuff, and that's so true. Legos are so good for building things. You also, if you guys like to play, I don't know if you like to play board games, but maybe like Chutes and Ladders or haven't played board games in a while, but a lot of times when you're playing games, you have to move your little pieces along, like Candyland. I don't know if you guys still play that. So you actually could use Legos as playing pieces. I've had students kind of make up their own games and then they use the Lego pieces as the people to move them along. You could also do cool things like make a marble run. If you had a lot of marbles, you could make a marble run to like, make a fun maze for the marbles. So that might be another fun thing to do. So lots of creative ways that you can use Lego. So yeah, thanks. Those are really great answers. Appreciate all those answers. Okay, so now we're going to hear a really fun story. It's called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And I don't know if you've heard this story. Has anyone heard the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears before? It's a really It's one of my favorite fairy tales. And Lucas and Adea said they've heard it before. Clarissa and Janelle, you guys have both heard it before? I'm so happy. That's great. Well, so put your thinking caps on because we're going to listen to it. I've got a little video of it. So we're going to listen to it and then I'm going to ask you guys some questions. So make sure you open up those ears, be good listeners, and then we will see what we can remember from our story.
Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there were three bears. Great big daddy bear, middle-sized mummy bear, and teeny tiny baby bear. They always had porridge for breakfast. One morning, their porridge was much too hot. So The three bears went out for a walk while it cooled down. A little girl called Goldilocks was walking through the woods too. When she came to the three bears' cottage, she peeped in through the open window. She said, porridge. It smells so yummy. It will fill my hungry tummy. In through the window she climbed. Goldilocks tasted Daddy Bear's porridge. Yuck, she said. Too salty. Next, she tried Mummy Bear's porridge. Yuck, she said. Too sweet. Last of all, she tried Baby Bear's porridge. She said. Just right. She ate it all up, right to the very last drop. Goldilocks tiptoed further into the cottage and spied three chairs. I think I'll sit down, she said. The great big chair was so hard she jumped straight off. The middle-sized chair was so soft she got stuck. The teeny tiny chair looked just right. But when Goldilocks sat on it, crack! It fell to pieces. Goldilocks was feeling more and more curious. So up the stairs she went. There were three beds, and she tried them all. The great big bed was too high. The middle-sized bed was too low. But the teeny tiny bed felt just right. Goldilocks lay down and fell fast asleep. Soon, the three bears came home for their breakfast. Someone's been eating my porridge, growled Daddy Bear. And someone's been eating my porridge, said Mummy Bear. Someone's been eating my porridge and has eaten up every last drop, cried Baby Bear. The three bears looked at their chairs. Someone's been sitting in my chair, growled Daddy Bear. And someone's been sitting in my chair, said Mummy Bear. Someone's been sitting in my chair and has broken it all to pieces, cried Baby Bear. The three bears marched upstairs. Someone's been sleeping in my bed, growled Daddy Bear. And someone's been sleeping in my bed. Someone's been sleeping in my bed and she's still here, cried Baby Bear. All the noise woke Goldilocks. What a fright she had when she saw the three bears standing over her. Ah! She cried. Ah! 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 Goldilocks jumped up, scampered downstairs, and went as fast as she could out of the three bears' house. She never went back again. And the three bears never again left their window open when they went for a walk in the woods. The end.
All right. Well, I'm curious how you would feel if you came home and you found a strange girl sleeping in your bed. How would that make you guys feel? Or what about if you were Goldilocks and you woke up and you saw those three bears standing over you? How do you guys think you'd feel? I think I'd be scared. I don't know about you guys, but that seems a little scary to me.
I'll be definitely scared.
Yeah, me too. I'd be very scared. Janelle, I see you have your hand raised. Was that for something before, or did you want to ask a question or say something? Yeah, Lucas and Adaya said they'd be frightened. Me too. I'd be very frightened. I think she was brave to go into the house all by herself anyway. Okay. So what do you think would have happened if, you know how Goldilocks went through the window? What if she knocked on the door and the bears answered? Do you think she would have gone inside? If you knocked on a door and a bear answered, would you go inside? No, I wouldn't. I'd be way too frightened. How about you guys? Are you guys pretty brave? Do you think you'd want to try to go in there? Brayden, I see you came off mute for a second. Did you want to say something?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you think you'd be afraid or do you think you'd go in?
think I'll be pretty scared.
Yeah, me too. I totally agree with that. I would be very frightened. What would you do if you were lost in the woods? What do you think might be a better way instead of going into somebody's house, like the bear's house? Can you guys think of anything you'd do if you were lost?
Go back to the house. Go back to my house.
That's so smart, Braden. You could walk back on the path, find your way back through the path. I love that. Clarissa, what would you do if you were lost in the woods?
Call the police.
Say that again.
Call the police.
Oh, yeah, you could ask a grown up for help. I love that. That's so smart. That's a really good thing to do, to ask a grown up for help. That's what they're there for. They're there to help us. Oh, and Lucas and Adiah said, find a sign. That's another good way. Now, what most adults my age would say is use your phone, but you guys don't have phones yet. But that's one good thing when you get older and have a phone. If you get lost, you have little maps on your phone, and your maps can help you. Yes, Marina, did you want to say something, Mariana?
I have a phone. I got it because I had straight A's on my math test.
Wow. So if you got lost in the woods, you could use that. That's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
it can be handy
and
sometimes if you're lost somewhere. It can help you not be lost anymore.
yeah, and by the way, my mom wants to trade in my phone, and she wants to get me an iPad.
Oh, okay. Well, iPads are good.
I'm
You can use
wishing.
iPads for school too. So that's good.
Yeah.
So one more question before I move on. So what if the bears came home an hour later? Do you think Goldilocks would still be there? There's not a right or wrong answer, but how long do you think she slept? Like now, I know sometimes when I'm super tired and I go to take a nap, I can sleep for a really long time. So
Maybe like 5 minutes?
so you think she might be gone, Mariana, if they came home an hour later? You just kind of
Yeah,
think she might be gone.
I
Yeah.
would.
Maybe she wasn't that tired. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she just got comfortable.
Yeah, that makes sense. So maybe she just kind of needed a short little break before she found her way back outside and found her way in her path. Clarissa, what about you? What do you think? Do you think she would still have been there if they came back an hour later?
I think she would sleep for 100 hours.
Wow, that's a
Or
long
a
time.
million hours.
I think sometimes when I'm tired, Clarissa, I feel like I could sleep that many hours. So I can totally understand that. That makes total sense. Those are great answers. And that was so good. I thank you guys so much for putting on your thinking caps. So you're going to practice this week while you're at home. So you're going to practice on your own flexible thinking skills. How can you do that? How can we grow them? I try to do this anyway every day. Check my one more chat. Oh, Adiah thinks that Goldilocks will sleep for 2 hours for sure. I think that at least 2 hours. I think she was probably tired. So if you brush your teeth every night, depends on if you're right-handed or left-handed. Maybe you're not really writing a lot yet, but I always brush my teeth with my right hand. Sometimes I want to practice brushing my teeth with my other hand. It's actually a little harder. I have to think about it a little more. So that's one way you can practice your flexible thinking. Having your mind like a rubber band is brush your teeth with a different hand or comb your hair. If you always comb your hair with your right hand, try combing your hair with your left hand. It can be really hard. You also can use your imagination this week. So if you like to play dress up or imagine that you're superheroes, you can do that. That's a great way to grow your flexible thinking. And you can also play a game. If you have friends or brothers or sisters, you can create what we call a yes and story. So the way you do that is you say, today I went to the grocery store and then let your friend finish it. And then the friend might say, and I bought bananas. And then you're going to add something else. So anytime you're adding things onto a story, you have to kind of think fast, use all those flexible thinking skills. So those are 3 ways you can try this week to grow your flexible thinking. You can try your teeth with a different hand. You can try playing dress up. Or you can create a yes and story with a friend or a family member. Okay, so I've got time for 2 questions before we go to prayer. So Albany, let's go with you, and then Mariana will go with you. Yes, Albany? I think you're muted, so if you can unmute, should be a little button. Or you can chat me. Either way, I can see your chats too. Well, wait, I'm going to let you look for the unmute, and I'm going to ask Mariana while you're unmuting. Mariana, what did you want to say?
I wanted to say that I have seen other kids you know the little raise hand button, this one?
Yes.
Well, I see people kids actually they have colored them like skin tone.
Yep, sometimes you can have different, that's a great observation. You're using your flexible thinking skills there, Mariana. Good job.
I don't know how to do it though.
Yeah, maybe your mom or dad could help you. I'm not quite sure how to do it either. Albany, were you able to come off mute, or did you want to put something in chat for me before we pray? I'm glad you jumped on, and I like your background, Albany. It's very nice. All right, so I want all of us to practice being good, flexible thinkers. I'm going to end us in prayer today. Remember, today is the National Day of Prayer, so I'm going to pray for us, and then the webinar will be done. All right, Heavenly Father, I'm thankful for each and every student here. I pray that they would learn new ways to grow their flexible thinking this week. Thank you for Jesus, and thank you for sending him to die on the cross for us, and just pray that we would just shine your light this week. Amen. Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining. I hope
Thank
everybody
you. Blessings.
yeah, many blessings to everybody. Bye.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
teacher.
Bye. Bye.